Hey, New York Jet fans from all around the world. Welcome to Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast. The show that delivers you all your Jets content. Here are your hosts, John, Adden, and Monty. All the best to the New York Jet fans. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Go Jets.
Hey, welcome to Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast. Happy 4th of July. Back-to-back World War champs, baby. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I got the same glasses that Ric Flair had the last time he was on the show.
Weird.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
I
Jeez.
know.
Are you guys buddies?
Maybe, maybe not. I'm in a different location today, but before we start off, I just want to share one little video of tribute. Yeah. It should be just get ready. God, it was such a good movie.
It was a very entertaining movie.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the best scene of that movie is like when they basically start. I guess the puppets are fucking. Basically, I think that's like one of the funniest things ever.
I mean, that was
there. There we go.
That part there.
Yeah, that's good. All right, I can stop doing that. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's still playing in the background for me at this point, but yeah, whatever.
Well, I'll let you enjoy that solo.
Yeah, I will. So anyway, today we have a special idea that the chief creative officer basically thought of. I guess, am I the creative officer? I guess chief creative officer, CCO at this point.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean,
Adnan is chief compliance officer, and Monty is chief marketing officer, and then I guess Smokey's definitely not chief financial officer.
he's chief chief cannabis.
Chief cannabis officer. So we have another CP whatever to it, right? But basically, the idea of this, and we were kind of thinking around, and people love lists for stupid reason. I mean, I do too. I mean, they mean nothing. But we decided, hey, why don't we have another draft again? Because we did one with the chief creative, the big creatives of the New York Jets world and media people. And now we're going to do Jets all-time team. So basically, here's the format, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And there's probably not many females watching this show yet, except maybe Miss Lisa Ann. But basically, the format of this, yeah, it's possible. So basically, this is the format. We're going to do this in Excel just for the hell of it, right? But basically, you have to pick one person from each of these positions that's listed out here. So you got a QB, a running back, a wide receiver, tight end. We're going to go just one offensive lineman, an edge, a D tackle, a linebacker, a corner, and a safety. It's 10 rounds, and we go around, and I'm not going to change the order last second like I did last time because I wanted Connor Hughes, right?
Thank God.
Basically, I think this is a cool idea. We'll see kind of how we fall on this one. And it's going to be a snake order draft. You decided to go with?
Yeah, and then we're gonna just go over like the teams as a whole at the end. I mean, we'll talk about the players as we draft them, but at the end, I think we should go over each person's team, kind of see what we like, what we don't like, etc.
Yeah, and what I could do at the end too is I could put a Survey Monkey link in the bio, and basically you, the fans, I don't know how many of you there are, but can basically decide who has the best team, and we're kind of going for it here. So. Big day. But I guess with the first pick of the draft, Monty, you are on the clock.
All right. Well, I mean, just because of scarcity, when you're drafting for fantasy.
I'm sorry, let's make one more rule. The rule of thumb for this is that the player has had to have played in 2 Jets seasons minimum.
Okay.
Last thing. No. Yeah. So no Aaron Rodgers. That's not fair.
No problem. All right. So just going based off scarcity. I mean, I thought this pick over, quite a bit what I would pick if I was first because I didn't know the order until just now. But you just have to go based on scarcity with Joe Namath. I mean, dude's a legend. Dude, his name speaks for itself. Probably the most popular sold jersey of all time, Super Bowl champ, guaranteed a Super Bowl for us. And, it's not just what he did winning the Super Bowl. It's what he's done since then. He's been very much a kind of a force in the Jets organization. He gives his blessing for things. People kind of consult with him. He still gets, kind of like interviewed and brought in on these sorts of things. And like, he's still, we still see him around. He's still active. So, got to go with Joe Namath. Dude had 4,000 yards in 14 games. Just let that sink in. That's all and with the scarcity,
had 400 yards in a season. That was 16, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Like back in the non-passing world, right?
Right, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Back in the day when guys were throwing for 2,500, and you could be a top 30 guy with 2,500 passing yards in that era. So, and he threw for 4,000. So,
Adnan, what are your thoughts on that pick? Is Joe Namath the right overall number one?
I think. Now, if you're looking at it from an objective perspective, yes. The guy who I am going to pick, I'm picking with my heart. Because
we're talking about Joe Namath right now.
I don't know. I understand. I'm saying, but with Joe Namath, yes. I mean, the things that he did, in a non-passing era, but not just that. It was his personality, his flair, the fact that he was, walking around in mink coats, guaranteeing Super Bowl wins, and then delivering.
Ric Flair shit.
Yeah. So I think if you're looking at a guy that exemplifies, the Jets, I think it's Namath. I think
and also just because of how limited the Jets have been at picking good quarterbacks in their long storied history, we just have just such a shit history of quarterbacks. You got to go QB early.
Well, to be fair, though, on it, obviously Namath's probably got the best resume of all the quarterbacks that we have that meet the 2-year requirements. Like, no Brett Favre and no Aaron Rodgers right on this. But, there's been some decent guys, and I'm sure Adnan and I are going to gain some value drafting one of them late, because the idea in this draft is you can only take one of each position that we have listed out here. So it'll be interesting to see how the QBs fall down the fantasy football board, as fucking Monty likes to call it, right? But basically, yeah.
You act like you don't play fantasy football. You play fantasy football.
I just don't like talking about it on a fucking Jets podcast. That's all. But
I talk about it wherever I want.
How about that? That's fair. That's
fair enough. Okay, but I was right last year on the Ayuk versus Mike Evans fantasy point total.
Yeah, by a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, Ayuk was great last year, but I was right that you could have drafted Evans 2 rounds later and you would have got more value out of him.
Right.
So I did win the bet, right?
Yeah.
Do I need the banner at this point? No, I don't need the banner to say John was right and all that stuff.
How about next pick?
Yeah.
Next pick.
So, with this, I got to go with, and obviously, right, quarterbacks are the lifeblood of a team. But as Monty had mentioned, it's really tough with the Jets quarterback history to draft quarterbacks. So I got to go with, I think, the best, and this might be a little maybe of a hot take, I don't know, but I think the best Jets non-quarterback player in their history is Curtis Martin. So I'm going to go Curtis Martin with the second pick.
That's fair. I don't think that's far off in terms of best player in the Jets
right
history.
Because that's what I was when I was making the pick. I was thinking about if I didn't have one, which would have been Namath. I was looking at second. Right now, some historical guys in there, but I just think Curtis Martin was everything for that team from a leadership perspective, an excellent player. So yeah, I think Curtis Martin would be the second guy, on the list of all time.
Top 6 all time rushing leader. His accolades are numerous.
Yep.
Yeah, Smokey stole my Curtis Martin jersey back in the day.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Don't blame. If you're gonna steal a jersey, that's the one to steal.
Yeah,
right?
this is the story behind Smokey stealing it. I mean, basically, he had a Sanchez jersey, and that was his only jersey. He's like, "Yo, can I get a jersey for the game? I don't want to wear Sanchez." And I'm like, and this was like 2014 when it was pretty much the down pit. And I was like, everyone was so sour on what transpired with Mark Sanchez, right? Still, right? Because we were like, oh, you really fucked up, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, fine. And he was like, oh, I'll wash it. I'm like, oh, you don't have to. I barely wash my jerseys at any point. He's like, no, I'll wash it.
I'll wash
it. And I was like, yeah. And I was just like, where's my jersey? And you know what game it was? 2014, I believe it was the Raiders at Jets, and it was Derek Carr's premiere, I guess, and we won that game. But anyway, never saw my jersey again, and I never ever
Gave him another
got
one.
that back. And I have no idea if he still has it, but whatever. He still wears
funny.
it to games. All right, so then I guess I am up, right? I am going with probably arguably the only guy that was worthy of being the NFL top 100 and didn't get in, which I thought was a devastation. And actually, it was funny. Like, I was having an argument with somebody who was the greatest at this position of all time. I didn't argue with this guy, but I said the stretch of 3 years this guy had holding our uniform was the best stretch of cornerback ever put together, right? And I think you guys know I'm going with at this point, right? It's our man Darrelle Revis, right?
Of course.
Yeah, Darrelle was just a whole another animal. And just the thing that I just thought was the best about him was just his ability to change direction. I mean, basically his hips were the best, right? So you couldn't and that's why he had such little separation. And he was doing it when the passing era was starting to open up a bit, and he was just fucking outstanding, right? There's just nothing that you could do to stop that fucking dude. Or get to that dude, right? Because I mean, Calvin Johnson, I think the most yards he's ever had against the Jets was 10 or 13 yards in one game, and which is just fucking insane, right? But anyway, that's who my pick is. And then I guess I have the snake reach around, right? Reach around, little pinky, right? And all that.
Reach around.
Yeah, and by the way, shutting down Calvin Johnson when you're 5'11" and
that's
200 pounds. That's
absolutely.
He also shut down Randy Moss twice in 09, Terrell Owens twice in 09, Chad Ochocinco, Steve Smith, Reggie Wayne, Marquise Colston. I mean, the list is just fucking absurd what he did that year. But anyway, my next pick is gonna be the guy who got into the Hall of Fame the same year as him. A guy who should have gotten in ages ago. I'm going to put him in as defensive tackle here so I can take up that space, but I'm going with Joe Flacco, basically. Yeah, my team's already fucking nasty, dude. It's already fucking nasty. I mean, Flacco is just, the guy fucking wrestled a bear on TV successfely. Wrestled a bear. The bear, it wasn't the largest bear in the world. It was a 5-foot brown bear or whatever it was, but he was messing around with it, and then he just fucking took him down because he was just so awesome like that. But yeah, the men of the previous decades were just bred differently, and Joe Flacco is a perfect example of
that.
Yep. Awesome. All right. So I guess I'm up here, and now there are kind of a lot of different directions we can go in. Looking at how the board has fell and kind of the top 3 guys are probably off, right? Namath, Martin, and Darrelle Revis. I don't think there would be a big argument if said those are the top 3 players in Jets history. But I think my next pick is going to be, my favorite wide receiver that the Jets have ever had is my guy Al Toon. I think that, he's kind of underrated as a player. And I think that if the Jets had a better quarterback situation, he would be talked about as a potential Hall of Famer. He's a very good player. And he's kind of like Curtis Martin, right? I like guys who are kind of just quietly go about the business, right? And they kept their mouth shut. They played hard. They were leaders. They were productive. And so I think my guy Al Toon is going to be my next pick.
I don't hate the pick at all whatsoever. I know you love Toon. You got the jersey and all
that.
Yeah,
he's my guy.
Yeah. Is he the best? Yeah, he probably has the best resume, right?
Probably, right?
Walker does too, to be fair, and Garrett Wilson might one day, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess the only other guys, I'm sure Monty will pick one and I'll pick one at some point. But that's a worthy pick, and also Ring of Honor guy, right? So
yep, exactly.
It's absolutely worth it. Okay, so Monty, you are up. And it's just interesting. We've gone all defense, and you guys have gone all offense at this point, which is ironic because the Jets are not known for having offense ever, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of a tough. It's actually a tough choice because we kind of did one for each position. But I wanted it that way just because I didn't want to be here for 10 hours. But I'm gonna have to go with. It's a tough one here. I know I'm going wide receiver, right? But it's just I think I'm gonna have to pull the trigger on I have to pull the trigger on Don Maynard, man.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just if it wasn't Altoon, because Altoon was going to be my pick at receiver. I knew I was going receiver here, but it was either Don Maynard or Altoon or the third guy who you can pretty much guess who that's going to be. But I mean, look, one of the greatest wide receivers in NFL history. He has I think he still has some records to this day. I don't know exactly which ones, but I was reading that he still has there's still a couple of records that he holds. I mean, this guy is just there's not enough that can be said about what Don Maynard means to this franchise, especially because of being contributory to our Super Bowl win. It's Don Maynard and it's not close. If it wasn't Altoon, it was going to be Don Maynard.
And I think the other thing you have to look at with him and Namath, like we said about Namath, they did it in an era where you ran the ball 45 times.
Correct, exactly.
Times a game, right? So to be able to put up the numbers that they put up in that version of the NFL, I think says a lot. And I too was torn between Toon and Maynard, but I think they are the two best receivers, obviously, in Jets history. And then I think I know there's a clear-cut number 3, but I think there is some separation between the two of them and kind of the next best receiver.
Correct.
But yeah, exactly. I think that's a great pick. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Monty, you're still on the board.
Still on the board here. So let's see. All right, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna continue on the offensive train here, and I'm gonna go with who I think is probably one of the best, if not the best lineman that we've ever had, and I'm gonna go with Nick Mangold. I mean, Ring of Honor, 2-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler. Smart guy. I got a signed ball by him in my room right now. It's just he's one of my favorites. When it comes to the O-line position. I love the guy, and I think he's a great choice right here.
Yeah, actually, Adnan and I both have signed balls from Nick.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did we all just become best friends?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think that's a very good pick. Yeah, Mangold it's interesting, right? Because when you look at the center position, you look at Mangold for the Jets and Kevin Mawai, right? So they've had a couple of really good centers, and I think Tippmann can hopefully be in that mold as well. So center is an interesting position for the Jets, but you can't go wrong if you say Mangold is the best offensive lineman they've ever had. I would not give any pushback on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Anyway, Adnan, you are on the clock.
Cool. So yeah, I think it's now we're getting into interesting territory, right? And it's kind of what do you like the most? How would you look at your team and kind of pick preference at this point? I'm gonna go with, and it might be a little bit early for him, but I am gonna go with Altoon and Curtis Morton are two of the best players in Jets history. I don't think they were hard picks, no matter how you're kind of looking at it, whether you're going with your head or your heart or whatever it is. But this pick is 100% from the heart. It's my favorite quarterback in Jet history, including Namath, and it's my guy, Chad Pennington. I think if he never got hurt, the Jets are contending for, he wins at least one Super Bowl. I think he had that much talent, that much intelligence, just, his arm just, gave up on him. And so I think,
guy, yeah.
And I think in my opinion, he is the second best quarterback in Jets history.
I mean, he's got the second most playoff wins, right? Doesn't he? Or I'm sorry, third most.
Third behind, it's I think
it was him, Sanchez,
and then
then Pennington, yeah.
Chad's a Jet for life, even though he did a little stint in Miami. Yeah.
I mean, players do that. Revis went to stupid Patriots.
Yeah,
So.
it sucks. I mean, well, he did he get hurt in college too before he came across?
I don't think he got hurt in college, but he never had the strongest arm, right?
Yeah.
And then when he injured his throwing shoulder multiple times, like that killed. I mean, you give him Zach Wilson's arm, he's a top 10 quarterback in NFL history. Nothing will ever convince me otherwise.
He was a scam quarterback. Yeah, he was.
I mean, highest completion percent, like he's just great.
Yeah, he's pretty fucking solid, dude. Okay. So just real quick, I'm gonna just change edge to DE here just to keep the initials way simpler here. And obviously, I think you know where I'm going with that. I'm gonna stay on the defensive side of the ball. This is one jersey I always fucking rock, and it's the only dude to ever be featured in Playgirl. I'm going with Mark Gastineau.
I knew it. I knew it.
Well, yeah, because I changed it to DE, instead of. But I mean, look, he should be in the Hall of Fame too. I mean, his resume kind of is crazy too. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler from 81 through 85, 3-time All Pro, 82 through 84, and he led the league in sacks in 83, and I believe in also 1984 too. And that's kind of when they started officially recording sacks, right? But I'm just gonna go with him just because he was just a fucking stud, man. He's just one of the greatest to ever fucking just do it and just never. And unfortunately, it's been kind of hard for him, since then, right? He's kind of issues too. So it's it is what it is. But I think he's just great. Now I guess my next pick, right? I'm probably gonna go offensive side of the ball here. I'm gonna take an O lineman. I'm gonna take Kevin Mawai. Just because I think. Basically, he was that was just the guy, right, for a good while, and he's in the Hall of Fame for a fucking reason. I mean, he was just fucking fantastic, right? So, excuse me, cough button, I need it, but I'm just gonna go with him. But I'm looking fucking solid here. But anyway, Adnan, you are back on the clock.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a position here that I think is even worse for the Jets than quarterback, and that's tight end. The Jets historically have had some horrific tight ends, so I'm going to go with my guy, Mickey Schuler. He's the best tight end in Jet history, and kind of after him, I mean, you're looking at Dustin Keller or guys like that. So I think Mickey Schuler was just excellent. He still is the Jets' all-time leading receiver in yards from a tight end. So I think he's got to be the guy here to kind of round out my skill position players for the all-time Jets team.
Also, 2 Pro Bowls on his resume.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all the guys that are on there, how many of them actually have any. I mean, there's one guy who I think I'm going to save for a little bit later, but there's not many tight end Pro Bowls.
Exactly. Is
it historically our worst position of all time? Yeah, it probably is.
I think so. Yeah, I think so for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, that's fair. All right, it's interesting. It's a little early, in my opinion, for him, but okay, I will take that. Okay, anyway, Monty, you are on the clock.
All right. Let's see who we got here. Okay, so since we're off the board with Revis, but I still think corner is a super important position. I think I'm gonna get one of the best to ever do it. Besides, but also one of the most I guess legendary too, because he helped us win a Super Bowl. And I guess who I'm going with at this point, Johnny Sample. Johnny Sample had an interception in the Super Bowl. Started every game as a Jet. Only ever was a Jet. Guys, Jet to the core. Played to help us win our only Super Bowl ever. I mean, I think that's really, really important. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Johnny Sample as a cornerback there. And then next one up, I'm gonna go with LaDainian Tomlinson. Just swung it in there because he only played 2 seasons as a Jet, but I mean, the guy's a Hall of Famer. He's literally right behind Curtis Martin in all-time yards, all-time rusher. Fast as hell. He could do it all. He could receive. He could run. He could juke the shit out of you. He was good for about 400 yards a year. Great in fantasy as well. And he helped us get to an AFC championship game. So you know what? I like it. I like it a lot, and I think he's really solid. Hall of Famers are always a good thing.
Yeah, no,
and the only I think besides Favre and Rodgers, I believe he's the only other MVP to ever play for us.
Yes, correct. He was MVP also. Correct. 2007.
I think he's the only. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that was an MVP that our all-time team, right? Maybe John Riggins, if that counts, right?
How long did he play for the Jets for?
He started as a Jet, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was 4 years or something like that, right?
He blew up with the Redskins, though, right? So it's kind of like
Commanders.
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna try and look that up just for kicks. 71 to 75. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's fair.
Yeah. No MVP for him. I think a Super Bowl MVP. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Adnan.
Cool. All right. So I am going to go with who I believe would probably be the third best offensive lineman in Jets history, in my opinion, behind Mangold and Mawai, and that's the Brickshaw Ferguson. The guy was an absolute Iron Man, never missed time, one of the best left tackles in the NFL for his entire career. The guy was, just a brick wall at the left tackle position. And I think that, he's probably, as I think through it, he's probably the best left tackle this franchise has ever had. Lived up to being the number 4 pick overall. And again, like I said, the most important thing is with him and Mangold, until Mangold got kind of to the end, they were always available. And I think that's so important, especially when we look at what's happened to the Jets over the past few seasons. He was just Mr. Reliability. And, he's the guy there at left tackle for the Jets.
Yeah, I would think the pick would have been for best left tackle would have been Winston Hill.
That's fair. Yeah,
I
mean, you can't go wrong with.
And he's in the Hall of Fame, I believe, is a legacy, right? Legacy
Hall of Fame, right? I think that's fair, but I think also, I don't know, there's something about him just never missing any games.
So that's one snap, right?
One snap because he came out for whatever it was. But so it's just like that to me is so important. So I mean, obviously, just like Mangold and Mawai, I don't think you could have went wrong either way. I think same thing here with Hill and Ferguson. But I get it. I mean, Ferguson. I will say this: Ferguson was in great fucking shape when we saw him, right? Remember that? Yeah. Yep.
He was in great shape. Okay, so now I'm gonna go. What side of the ball do I want to go? I can go offensive way later because you guys kind of just ate up QB, RB, and wide receiver, right? This is just me being strategic, and I think I'm gonna go linebacker actually. In this case. Now, I was thinking, there's 2 guys I'm really thinking of, but there's Grantham, who I didn't see, so I can't really say. But I'm going to go with the guy that unfortunately kickstarted the Patriot dynasty. I'm going to go Mo Lewis.
Wow, that's a good one. I considered going Mo Lewis with my next pick. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a first-team All-Pro in '98, right? And he had like 3 Pro Bowls as it was. He was just solid, right? I mean, Mosley could have been considered. I didn't want him to be the first active Jet off the board, right? And unfortunately, I kind of blew my wad on some of the guys that I think would be worthy of, best at the position, right? Although Sauce is not quite there yet for cornerback. I know Adnan's going to get him at one fucking point. And I know that Quentin Williams is still available. So, that's definitely a possibility. But fuck it. I guess, you know what? I've kind of I've filled out all my defense. God, no, I don't want to go safety yet. No, I can wait on that position. But basically, I think, you know what? It's time. I'm going to wait on quarterback too because just fuck it, right? I'm going to just wait on it. But
Well, I mean, you're the only one that can pick a quarterback, so you might as well.
Exactly. So I have my free will on it. You know what? Let's go running back. Okay. I wanted to use LT, but you know what? I'm gonna be the first active guy here. I'm gonna put Brees Lightning on there. Just because I know that Brees Hall is fucking special. All right. Like, I mean, he's just a fucking beast, man. Like, in this year when he's gonna have Rodgers there to take some people out of the fucking box, he's just gonna I think he's gonna be a contender for first team all pro at the position. I really do. I'm gonna go with Brees Lightning over here, Brees Hall. And I think the other options would have been like Fred McNeil, right? Thomas Jones, and a couple other guys like that. But I'm happy with that pick. Okay. Any comments on that?
No, I think
I could see it just because already, right? Even in the season where he got injured, people already were like, "Holy shit, this kid's special," and they were already baking him up big time. In any sort of community that knows anything about football. Then we finally got a full season of him, and what's he do? He beats his first full season. He beats Christian McCaffrey in receiving yards, and he does so with the worst QB play in the league. I mean, what else do you got to see?
Yeah.
What else do you got to see?
I don't know.
He's legit.
Anyway. Adnan, you
are
on the clock.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with the best pass rusher, or probably one of the best pass rushers the Jets have had, 1-2 since the sack exchange, and I'm going to go with John Abraham here, as an edge, just dominant off the edge. As soon as he left, the Jets pass rush just went into the tank. They had been trying to replace him for years and couldn't do it. I think he's one of the best at that position that the Jets have ever had. I think that's kind of a simple one for me there.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you guys my John Abraham story?
I don't think so.
Okay, so basically,
I'm gonna tell it.
Yeah, I am. So basically, this is around, I think I was in college at the time, and we went to go visit my buddy down in Atlanta, Georgia. And I don't know if you remember, but John Abraham at this point was an Atlanta Falcon at this point, right?
Nope.
And we decided, and obviously Atlanta is famous for its strip clubs and all that. And we're basically at a strip club, not in the city, but outside the city, but not too far away from where the players are, right? And in comes John Abraham, who's a fucking massive human being, right? He's just fucking massive. And he ain't coming to the stage. He's just sitting in the back, and all the bitches are coming up to him basically. And one of them was telling me, yeah, he brings them back. Right. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I go to Abraham, and I'm wearing my Yankee hat. For some reason, I'm able to wear a hat in this trip, because usually that's basic protocol. You don't wear a hat, right? So the cameras can see you and identify you if you shoot something, right? Basically, I'm like, Abraham was a big fan of you as a Jet, and he just looked at me and get the fuck away from me. I'm like, okay. I am not gonna you do your fucking thing, right?
Yeah, he would eat you.
Yeah, never. You never go up to celebrities when they're having dinner or when they're at a strip club, right? Other places but I think that's kind of a rule of thumb. Leave them alone when they're doing those two things.
Yeah, I also saw Tremaine Johnson at a strip club once, right? And actually at the Hoops, and basically, I was like, "Oh, you're Tremaine." He's like, "Yeah."
Did you tell him how
I was like, "All right, go Jets."
Yeah,
he was with a couple other guys too from that secondary. I forgot who it was, but it was a bunch of no show, basically that was basically our downfall of the secondary. But
yeah.
But anyway, not to derail too much, Monty, you were on the clock.
All right. So since my boy John Abraham just went, I'm gonna have to go with Sean Ellis.
Love it.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah, I mean, if it's not John Abraham, then it's
DE. Yeah, he's a DE.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. At DE, if it's not Gastineau and it's not Abraham, it's gonna be. I think the third has got to be Sean Ellis there. Arguably could be right on par with John Abraham. I mean, and you talk about Iron Man football. Adnan, this guy only missed 14 games in 11 years or whatever it was that he played. I mean, that's Iron Man football right there. And then on top of that, the guy was just he was, for a good little while, he was just a sack machine. I think there was like 2 years in a row where he was averaging like 11 sacks a season. Also, I have a soft spot in my heart for anyone that contributed to my favorite Jets eras. So that would be the, 09, 010, that Rex Ryan Jets, the sack exchange, the Super Bowl Jets, and then right now. Those are pretty much my eras. I'm not a big 90s Jets fan outside of Curtis Martin. So, for me, Sean Ellis is a great pick here. Also, he really helped out in that if you guys, I'm sure you guys remember back when we played the Patriots in divisionals, he had like 2 sacks in that game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so it was a huge, very, very, very pivotal, very, very pivotal contribution to beating the Patriots' ass. And as everyone knows who watches this show, it's always and forever fuck the Patriots. So, anyone that can contribute to a Patriot ass whooping in the playoffs, sign me up. So,
and I think the other cool thing is, right, Abraham and Ellis were drafted in the same draft.
Yes.
Along with Pennington and Becht, which is the craziest first round, the Jets had until 2002, where they got, obviously Sauce, Garrett. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Garrett, Sauce, Brees, and Jermaine in the first 4 picks. So that was a really good draft. And yeah, I think Ellis was just, I think he was more underrated than Abraham, but I also thought he was more of just a better, like, all-around player. Abraham was just that, get after the quarterback guy, where I think Ellis was better at other things. But yeah, I think that's an excellent pick there.
Yeah. Question for you guys, just not to derail too much, is the 2000s the best decade of Jets football?
I think so. From 2000 to 2010, I think so.
Yeah. It probably is, right? Because, like, like the 60s was, it had like a nice little hump, when they won the Super Bowl, but like 70s, definitely not. 70s was just complete.
The 80s were really bad too.
Early 80s was 80s was good, right? And then it just really went off the rails. Forget about the 90s. That's fucking bad until the end of the road there, right?
Right, exactly.
And then the last decade, this 2010s was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe I bought season tickets in the middle of it, like in the early part of that. After, that was not a good investment.
That's funny.
All right.
So,
now for my snake pick, I'm gonna go with just an absolute beast. This guy is just the epitome of Jets, smash mouth, hard hitting football. Linebacker. David Harris, second rounder. The guy was way outplayed his draft capital. He played, I think he played most of his games too. I think he was he's definitely top 10 on the team in history in the historical Jets franchise. He's like top 5 in tackles, sacks, and also forced fumbles. And I think he has the most. I think he has the record for most solo tackles in a game. At 20.
That's kind of insane. That's good for the IDP leagues, as you would call it, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
All pro. I mean, he's sick. David Harris.
Yeah, and it was also a good era of Jets. It was good to bad, right? Because he kind of came the year that we drafted Mangold and Ferguson, right? And then and then stuck around. Yeah, he was good. He was good. I'll give you that. All right, Adnan, you are on the clock.
Yeah, I am going to go. John called it earlier. I'm going to go with Sauce here. I think he's already been the. I think he's already in his couple of seasons with the Jets, one of the best defensive players they've ever had. This season, hopefully he'll do a little bit more traveling and things like that. But I just think with what he's done in his first couple of seasons with the Jets, it's just, it hasn't been matched. He's hands down the best corner in football, since the first snap of his first game. And I just think like him and Revis are going to be the two best corners that the Jets have ever had. So definitely Sauce.
Yeah, I'm surprised when Monty went cornerback. I mean, Johnny Samples was good, but I'm surprised he didn't go for Sauce because, especially because we're going to probably have voting after this. People are going to be drawn to that name as it is, and plus, Sauce probably. I mean, if he keeps this up for just another 3 more years, he's going to the Hall of Fame, right?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Sauce is
100%,
absolutely
right?
Sauce is absolutely sick. I'm just, I wanted to get some more classic players mixed in, and also if not everyone knows about Johnny Sample, so I kind of wanted to bring that in the forefront a bit. Plus, he's great. I mean, he helped us win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so I guess I'm on the clock. And I guess we don't have that many picks left, so I could start filling in the offense, right? At this point. Let's see. Yeah, I might as well go quarterback here. Now, there's a couple names that could go in here, right? There's Vinny, there's Richard Todd, right? But I think Ken O'Brien is the pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because, Vinny had God, that's maybe the biggest what if in Jets history, right? If he doesn't tear his Achilles. Just same thing with Rodgers, but the Jets last year probably would have had a chance at a Super Bowl last year, maybe, right? With that defense. But they were a Super Bowl favorite.
Yep.
I think they were the favorite to come out of the AFC that year because Elway had retired, right? And I'm guessing the other side. Trying to think who was I think the Jets might have been the favorite going into that season, but I could be wrong on that, right? But I don't know. I think about it all the time, man. We just would have been really happy with our lives having a Super Bowl on our resume. I guess not. I don't know, but I guess the other honorable mentions probably were that was pretty much it, right? Todd and Vinny, and then you really can't. Mark Sanchez, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, and the Sanchez thing is crazy too, right? Because yes, he did win 4 playoff games on the road. He beat Manning and Brady back to back. But man, his regular seasons were rough. They were rough.
We weren't relying on him to get there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So then my last pick for this snake round, right? And safety really didn't go off the board, huh? Yeah. Well, I have plenty of time to go wide receiver. I mean, I guess I can go. I mean, I'm not going to go Jamal Adams, just even though I would say this of all the guys that I think he's the only one that get the All Pro for us, right? At that point, I mean, there's maybe Paulson, right? Daynard Paulson. But am I going to go Victor Green? Yeah, I'm going to go Victor Green. Fuck it. Yeah. Yeah, just because, that's the name I actually saw. I mean, if you look at Paulson, he does not look like he'd make it in today's NFL, right? But Victor Green was him and Aaron Glenn. That was the other one in that duo, right? I mean, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, they were really good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't understand why the S is not popping up. Oh, because I'll figure that out at some point. Okay, yeah, but I'm going with Victor Green.
All right, cool. So I am going to double up on current Jets here, and I'm going to go with Quinnen Williams here as my defensive tackle.
That's what I was going. That was my pick.
He's a beast, man. Outside of the old school guys, he's the truth, man. Love everything about Q. Love the fact that he was drafted here when the Jets were awful, and he just put his head down and worked. He's gotten better and better and better, without a doubt. A top 2 to 3 defensive tackle in the NFL. And yeah, he's definitely on his way, if he isn't already, to being an all-time Jet great.
Is he the most likable defensive tackle in the league? Yeah,
dude. I feel like yes, right? He's just always smiling. He's fucking around. I think he's great. And I think he's very likable.
Yeah, I'm a little upset with last Hard Knocks. I mean, they featured him a little bit, but they really should have went more with him, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously Rodgers was the thing, right?
Yeah.
But Quinnen is just, and Sauce too, right? Those are personalities, right?
Yep.
The Quinnen, I think Quinnen has the most personality of all the non-Aaron Rodgers characters on the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's camera friendly. I guarantee. I would say this of all the guys that are on the Jets right now to follow the Michael Strahan path of being on Kelly, whatever, it's him, right? Yeah. Outside of maybe the when he tried to take a gun on an airplane, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he got away with it, so it's all good. Anyway, Monty, guess what? You're on
my
the clock.
pick. All right. All right. So, I'm gonna lean back on one of my favorite eras, and we're gonna go with Marty Lyons, defensive tackle. Sack exchange guy. Like just absolute beast, man. Like you were talking before about Klecko and all those, like those guys were just built different back then. I mean, he's like top 10 all time Jets sack leader. Just absolute madman at stopping the run. Marty Lyons. Marty Lyons is great.
Yeah, I guess the other names that would have maybe populated in DT, maybe fucking Jason Ferguson, maybe, and John Elliott, maybe.
Chris Jenkins.
Yeah, I mean those are
good. He was an interesting guy in the middle of those Rex defenses, so he's another one. But yeah, I think we took all the defensive tackles.
Does Muhammad Wilkerson count in that group?
I think he's more of a defensive end.
More of a defensive end.
Yeah, but I'm just curious. I mean, he's a 3-4. Sheldon Richardson maybe counts in that group too, and Snacks Harrison, right? But
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, you are also back on the clock, and now just note to yourself, right, that you have basically 2 positions left: tight end
and safety. Yep, that's why I was going with tight end Dustin Keller. I mean, it's slim pickings at tight end for the Jets, and I used to like to play with Dustin Keller in Madden. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just always could nail passes to him. For whatever reason, he just was always open. I would do this like tight end out route. So I used to fuck up my roommate back in the day, with that. And he was really good at Madden, but I just figured out this little kind of cheat code, and I used to just wreck it with Dustin Keller. So yeah, he always has a good little warm memory for me. So yeah, Dustin Keller, tight end.
Okay. Adnan, you got 2 defensive positions to go.
Yeah. So I am going to go with one of my favorite linebackers that the Jets have had, Jonathan Vilma. He was rookie of the year when he was drafted, and what sucks, he's like your prototypical 4-3 middle linebacker. But when Rex came on the scene and switched him over to a 3-4, he would have been, much less effective in that scheme, leading to his trade, to the Saints, where he still was excellent for them. But Jonathan Vilma is one of my Jets, like, what ifs. What if they had kept him, him and David Harris in the middle there in a 3-4? I mean, that could have been, something incredible. So yeah, I'm a big Jonathan Vilma guy, and I think he is one of the best linebackers the Jets have ever had.
They're really good. They were really good. There was a good run the Jets had then of drafting middle linebackers.
Yeah,
Mario Davis
Davis has been great.
Yeah, but they kind of filled the hole. I mean, I guess since the linebackers are up, Larry Grantham probably would have been a good consideration, considering he has like 5 All Pros. And that was like really early. I think they were still the Titans technically at that point, right? Yeah, they were. And then maybe Kyle Clifton is also another name that kind of comes up a little bit, just because he led the league in sacks like a bunch of years in a row. And also, he was kind of late to the game of that sack exchange, and then then that's when they started to fade a little bit. Okay. Basically now, all right. So I basically have the free will picking all across the board. I'm probably going to have to go tight end here, right? And I'm probably going to go with Castor, just because I think Rich Castor. I think he's just the best tight end that we've ever really had per resume, right? But he was just forgotten so much just because it was the 70s and they were just fucking trash back then, right? But just to hear his resume, I mean, God, it's not even that good. It's 3 Pro Bowls, 72, 74, and 75, but 36 touchdowns, which I believe would be the most amongst all our tight ends that we've ever had, except for maybe Jerome Barkham. But it's slim pickings, man.
Slim pickings.
Yeah, and I guess wide receiver. I guess I go Wes Walker. I got go Walker, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I could do Garrett or Garrett Wilson or Corbett. Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Wayne Corbett. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm wearing his fucking jersey right now, right? Why not? Right? Yeah.
That's who I was saying before, like who I was
Mhm.
talking about when Adnan and I were like, yeah, there's obviously a consensus third. I think the
Yeah.
third is
I didn't think that was it.
Corbett.
I thought Wesley Walker was going to be the consensus, but
It's
you know
kind of
what?
between those two, to be honest. But I lean Corbett. Maybe that's just me being younger.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, the other honorable mentions, right, could have been
Because I watched a lot of
I
Corbett.
wear Keyshawn's jersey a lot too, man. But I don't, I mean, Brandon Marshall, I guess, right? Yeah, you know what? I'm comfortable with Wayne Corbett. I'll win some fan points on that one, right? Damn, my team is looking fucking nasty outside of. Yeah, I like my team. Okay. Anyway, Adnan, you God, you guys both saved safety for last. I am so glad I went Victor Green early. But which one of you is going to do it? Who's going to pick him? Who's going to pick him?
I'm not picking him. So I'll say this. I talked about earlier, like your head and your heart pick. This is going to be a pick, using my head. But if I were picking with my heart, I would have went Jim Leonard here because I just loved everything about that guy playing safety for the Jets. But my head will prevail, and I'm going to go with Eric McMillan here at safety. The guy was a beast, scored 7 defensive touchdowns for the Jets, including 5 interceptions returned for touchdowns. I think he's kind of hands down the second best safety here. I know that people might want to make a argument for John's guy Jamal Adams. I wouldn't pick Jamal Adams if you gave me $1 billion. So
you wouldn't just pick Jamal Adams for $1 billion. That's
how much.
You know how much like sex, cocaine, and hookers you can fucking get with $1 billion? Is a lot, dude.
You're talking to the chief compliance officer. I think you need to recant that last statement, and we're probably gonna have to.
Dude, if you had $1 billion, you could hire so many other compliance officers to make sure you're okay. Dude.
We're gonna have to do some editing here, Monty. So make sure you remind me of that.
I'm just saying, like, if you had $1 billion, all right, you know what? I'll drop it, but I'm just saying $1 billion just to make a pick. Okay. You can buy the Jets. You could probably put a bunch of that down and be an owner of the Jets. And then
that would be interesting. Listen, the Celtics are for sale. We should buy the Celtics, trade all their good players, and then sell them. So that's just my pitch there. But Monty, why don't you wrap us up here?
Yeah, I mean, I am going to pick that person because I don't give a fuck. Jamal Adams. Let's go. And I'll tell you why. People are going to remember him. It sucks, but people are going to remember him as the guy who didn't want to stick around for a fucking rebuild. But fuck that. He was a generational player. He was the heart and soul of that team for multiple years while he was, when he was there, and when things were like not, completely catastrophically bad and just, sort of bad. He still stepped up and was a team leader. He was a locker room guy. People forget that. Like, a lot of people didn't want to trade him because of how much he was, key to that locker room. 3-time Pro Bowler, All Pro. I mean, that's he's generational talent at the safety position as far as the Jets are concerned. Because I mean, it's Eric McMillan. It's Victor Green, and then it's him, and then you're going back to guys like fucking Bill Baird in the Super Bowl era, in the Super Bowl championship era, and shit like that. There's some other guys you can maybe argue, but they just don't have the talent. They don't have the greatness, and I choose to remember him fondly for when he was actually a player that that players liked, that the team liked. And he was a producer. I mean, again, 3 years in a row, Pro Bowler, and 1 year in the middle of that All Pro, 2018, 2019, 2020. So
2020 was a Seahawk year, but he was the best safety in football, though. He really was.
Yeah.
And honestly, there was a good argument that he should have been a Pro Bowler his rookie year, right?
Yeah. Also, we got some draft capital for him. That was pretty important.
Yeah, ended up.
I mean, that's our Keyshawn Johnson trade, right?
Yeah. Thanks to him, ended up getting Garrett. So that was the Garrett Wilson pick. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So for multiple reasons, I think he's still I think he's still noteworthy. I think he's still great.
Okay. Just now, since we have some time, I was thinking this: like each of us gets the pick. If they had to choose one or the other person's teams, who they would pick. So Monty, I'm going to start with you. So basically, just looking at this list, you have Adnan's team, and then you have my team. Basically, who do you think has the better squad right now?
It's tough because your team obviously is stacked up on defense because you went defense out the gate. Jets are kind of known for being a defensive team, but I'll be honest, I like my team. If I couldn't pick my own team, I think I'd probably pick Adnan's team.
Wow.
Yeah, because even though you're so stacked at defense, I don't know. Like I like my quarterback situation way better.
Okay, Adnan. If you had to pick between Monty and my team, I guess who would you go with?
Yeah, I would. Looking at both teams, I think they're pretty well balanced. But when I look at it a little bit more, I would probably go Monty's team, because I think when you look at wide receiver, when you look at the quarterback position, he has the best quarterback of the three teams. Getting LaDainian Tomlinson there in the 5th round was great value. So I think slightly I would probably take Monty's team.
I think if let's see, if you had, let's see, if John had, I'm just trying to see real quick. It's really tough. I think, like if John had Namath and if John had went Namath and Sauce and kept the same team, if he had been able to go Namath and Sauce, then I think that would be the best team.
Yeah, but I went with Darrelle Revis, who is an argument for being the best quarterback.
Obviously, one of the best. Yeah, I know that, and there's no argument against Darrelle Revis. I'm just saying from a team build perspective, right. I think but I like my team. So I got John. Who did you pick out of?
Listen, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna go with Adnan's team. Actually, I think here
it's good. Yes, so I
think the reason for it is because I thought I was actually leaning to making Curtis Martin my basically I knew I was gonna be last, right? Because I set the draft order, and basically my top 4 was Namath, Martin, Revis, Klecko. Right. I figured that was the Mount Rushmore of Jets, right? As it was, right? Because it's just they're all Hall of Famers, right? And there actually aren't that many Hall of Famers on our roster that are known for being Jets, right?
Right.
But Kurt, I would have taken Martin over Revis just because Revis he was a mercenary with free agency, right? And he did win one with the Pats, right? So, and then Martin, once he became a Jet, he was always a Jet, right? So I would just lean with him real quick. I mean, honestly, I don't want to identify LT as a Jet running back so much as a Charger running back, although it did meet the criteria. Johnny Sample, I thought was way off the board. I thought Sauce would have been the pick, but I understand why you did that. I think on the D line, I don't think you're that strong relative to us, right? I think I have the best D line. There's no question, right? But the combo of Abraham and Quinn is just better, and that's kind of the strength position, right? For us, so that's just kind of where. And also, you went Jamal Adams, so
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, so can you put it back up?
Leave that,
yeah, I can go back.
Because so I did also get kind of sniped on a couple of positions. I got sniped on Mickey Schuler because I was gonna pick him at that point. I also got sniped on, well, not quite sniped, but Mo Lewis was going to be my pick there. So, you kind of, those 2 picks that, you kind of have in question are picks where I kind of had to pivot last minute because, the guys that I had pegged in at those exact points were kind of taken a little bit early. And then who else? Yeah. That's pretty much it. But those would have made a big difference in my team.
Yeah.
No, I
I
think
kind
that
of wanted to go Chad, to be fair, at one point. I was thinking about it but obviously that's not the way the snake order went. I was kind of hoping Chad would kind of wait a little while and Adnan would go with Ken O'Brien, right, or Vinny, right? But I guess not, right? The guy I probably would have. Well, I went defense really early, so Sauce and Quinnen were off the question. Actually, here's a good fun thing, right? The active Jet player that is not on this list that should be on this list, right? There's only 3 that are on here, but I guess it's Garrett Wilson, right, or CJ
Wilson.
Mosley, right?
Yeah, Mosley was an alternate for me. I had him kind of, I had a few names written down just to kind of remind me. Mosley was definitely an alternate for me, but I don't know why, but like I just didn't have Garrett there yet. I mean, he's amazing, just like Sauce, just like Brees, just like the rest of these guys. But I don't know. I kind of thought we would be going more like with like classic players.
Yeah.
So I didn't really focus that much on picking. Another one I did get sniped on was Quinnen Williams. That was going to be my pick over Marty Lyons.
Yeah.
and
I got sniped on 3 picks.
Yeah, no, and I think that's always tough. It's annoying when that happens. I was honestly very close to going with Pennington with my first pick, but I just couldn't turn down Curtis Martin. And then I was like, you know what? If he goes, I would have been happy with O'Brien. So I was okay taking two in second, but then I was like, I gotta pull the trigger on Chad. I think the way that I kind of looked at this, and I don't have any of like, the old school guys from like the Super Bowl era really on my team. I tried to make it like as much as possible. I tried to look at it from the perspective that we were talking about at quarterback, like where was there dearth in positions, right? And I think it was quarterback and tight end. That's when I was like, I have to get a tight end. Because that's part of that. Like, if Dustin Keller's the second best tight end in Jets history, like that's a little.
That's where we kind of fucked each other a little bit. Because my exact strategy was I'm gonna go offense because the Jets just offensively have not been a strong team. Quarterback super weak. Running back not so weak, but kind of. Wide receiver not bad, but tight end terrible. There's so many offensive positions where we just don't have greats, and we have so many greats at D-line and at linebacker. We have so many guys that could have been Al Atkinson, Mo Lewis, Jonathan Vilma, CJ Mosley, David Harris. Like there's so many great Jets linebackers.
Right.
I kind of want to do the all-fail team, if that makes sense, right? Like I was just thinking about it. Like it could be really funny to do it, right? Quarterback would have to probably be Zach
Wilson.
Yeah, let's go. Let's just do this right now. Zach Wilson,
is it? Yeah, I think it's probably.
Yes, it's Zach. It has to be Zach,
right? Because
Zach is not good. Yeah, Zach is. Yeah, it's got to be Zach.
Running back would probably be who was the draft pick that we had second overall back in 1990 or whatever it was?
Was it Freeman McNeil?
No. It wasn't Freeman McNeil.
No, they did.
It was. I gotta look this up real quick. 1990 NFL draft, right? Because we had like the second overall pick that year, right?
Did they draft a fullback, or was that the Giants? They drafted. No, the Giants drafted Gerard Bunch.
No, Blair Thomas. That's the name. It's got to be Blair Thomas.
That's what it was. Yeah. Penn State. I remember him.
Blair Thomas. Yeah. My God. Okay. Wide receiver.
There's so many. Devin Smith comes to mind. What's his name? The receiver from Georgia Tech. Stephen. I think it might be Stephen Hill.
It is.
They were
argument for that, Monty at all, or anybody worse than Stephen Hill?
Not that I can think of.
I'm gonna go Stephen Hill. Okay, Kyle Brady for tight end, right? Just because.
Dude, Kyle Brady was somewhat decent. What about Jace Amaro? I thought that he was a second round pick, and he just he was just awful, man. I think he's the one.
Yeah. I guess Kyle Brady was okay, right?
Yeah,
It's just such a disappointment considering that it could have been more in Stafford.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
O-line, I mean, God, I don't want to put his name here, but it is.
Are you gonna say Becton?
Yeah.
No, you know who I would say honestly is Vladimir Dukas. Remember they took him with the second round out of UMass.
Wait. Instead of Zach, should we put Hackenberg?
Ooh.
You know what? Hackenberg is probably second. The only reason it's Zach is because he was the second overall pick.
Yeah.
Dukas. Did I get that right? D-U-K-S?
No, D-U-C-A-S-S-E.
D-U-C-A-S-S-E?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is a fucking name. Vladimir Dukas. Okay. D-E. It's Vernon Golston, right?
100%. There's no one worse. Yeah. 100%.
Vernon Golston. All right. Okay. Let's see what we got next. D tackle. I mean, they don't really have that many fails there, right?
Yeah, I mean, could you say Dwayne Robertson? They drafted him 4th overall. They traded up to draft him, and he wasn't. I don't think he ever lived up to being the 4th overall pick.
I can't think of a better name. Dwayne Robinson.
Yeah, Dwayne Robertson.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know how to spell Dwayne on this one. There's so many Robinson, right? Robertson. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Linebacker. Oh, it's got to be what's Darren Lee? Darren Lee from Ohio State, first rounder.
I think so. I'm trying. Yeah, because that was just a weird pick to begin with. So
work.
I think it didn't work. They didn't need him. Yeah, I would go Darren Lee there.
Darren Lee. Okay, cornerback. Oh, it's got to be
Milner.
Milner. Yeah, God, that was such a bad draft.
Milner. Yeah.
But you know what? And yes, I agree completely. But they should have never. He was just hurt the whole time. They should have never even had him on their board. That was a disappointing pick.
Yeah, it was the Boise State safety that we drafted in the first round in like 2013, right?
No, the Boise State. No, didn't they? No, they drafted Calvin Pryor from Louisville. That guy was bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Excellent memory. Thank you. That is definitely an all-time all-fail team.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That team goes 0-16 3 years in a row, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
But the funny thing is we could do like an all-fail second team and have a bunch of guys there too. You know, like there's so many other guys to pick from.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably. Darnold.
These are the ones that really stand
excellent all-fail quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Le'Veon Bell has got to be the running back, right? After Blair Thomas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because he spent so much on him. After Stephen Hill, you can go Devin Smith, right?
Devin Smith,
and Jason Taylor was kind of a fail. That was a fail for us when we picked him
for the end.
Yeah, he sucked. He was good on. He was good on the dot. He was good on the. I mean, he was
a situational pass rusher though at that time because he was so seasoned in his career. But he was good for that second year the Jets made the AFC Championship game. That was just the thing. Just have like a ton of different pass rushers while Revis Island does its Revis Island things, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, that's a great team though. And obviously you can go anywhere on the board there. You can go anywhere on the board. That is just amazing. Was there any actual Jets news this week or no? There really wasn't, right?
No, I mean, the guys, they're all, away until the end of the month. So nothing's really going on. Just like, coaches hoping that they don't get a 2 a.m. text about one of their players. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be much big news coming up, especially with the 4th of July week this week. So I think we can do some more stuff like this, until we get to
they found out where Aaron Rodgers went.
Yeah. Well,
where did he go again?
Egypt.
He literally went to Egypt.
Samini said that from the beginning.
Yeah, Samini did say that, but I thought it was like, a joke, like, because like, when someone says, oh, someone's far away, or like when you have to go far away to get something, like it's a joke that you say, oh yeah, it's all the way in fucking Egypt, or I gotta go to Egypt to get this thing. Just as I thought that was like a joke, or like like kind of like a euphemism or like whatever. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know that he was being serious. So
Yeah, he was
I guess he
literally
going to some pyramids or something like that and try to figure out if like I could like summon like whatever.
I don't know. He's gonna go on Joe Rogan next, probably, and talk a bunch of shit with
Yeah.
some guys who are like, "Yeah, it's the Anunnaki," and yeah, like
I'm looking forward to it. All right, so then I guess from there we can go to final thoughts. I guess you know what, Adnan, you can start it off. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was a really cool exercise, right? To kind of see, kind of take a trip down memory lane. Remember that even though things have been rough lately, this team does have good moments and excellent players and things that you can hang your hat on as a fan. It isn't always just woe is me Jets. And I think doing this kind of really showed that there are all-time players that have played for this franchise, and I think that it brought that to light. Also interesting to look at the all-fail team and just see how horrifically
bad we've been at our worst.
Yeah, some of these guys have been, So yeah, I think this was a cool thing for us to do. I mean, and listen, guys, looking, into the future here a little bit. I mean, we got 4th of July week, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and then we're into training camp. So a lot of good things coming up. It's gonna be a very interesting rest of July, and then we're into it. End of July until February, we have football. So very, very exciting time to be a Jet fan. We'll hope that that our guy, I don't even remember his name.
On Reddick.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick gets
Shows
signed
up.
and stops all this nonsense. We know where Aaron Rodgers was, so our great national nightmare is over. So yeah, I think I think we're in a good spot here, and just a couple of weeks, just counting down.
Yeah.
Monty, go for it.
Great idea to fill a slow news week. So good job on you, John, for coming up with this one. It was definitely fun. It definitely made me think, like what Adnan said about, the fact of that we have had some really great players. It made me reflect on like my favorite Jets eras. You know what I mean? Like I really liked the sack exchange era. I really liked the Super Bowl era. You know what I mean? Like all those guys were so much better than the talent around them, which is why they kicked, why they kicked the shit out of everyone and then ultimately beat the Colts, who were favored. So like, I really love doing this. But it also made me think about like why, like about like team identity, like why some teams just continually pan out the way they do, and like what the hell happened. Like the Jets started off our history, really, if you think about it, like as an offensive kind of powerhouse there. Like we weren't bad on defense, but I mean, like we had this like, this great QB throwing all over the place, great wide receivers, could shut down the pass. And like, why didn't we continue with that? Why did we why did we shift? Like, now, not that it was a bad thing, but why did we totally dramatically shift to the sack exchange? Was that just best available talent and then build on what was available? Or like, how did that happen? And then how did that become the Jets identity for the next, however many years? Because like we've pretty much since then been ground and pound team. We've been strong defense, running game, shit at QB for the most part. Receivers that are good, but other than like Altoon, like you get a Keyshawn here, you get a Brandon Marshall there on loan, on the end of their career. Like we just haven't been an offensive powerhouse in a very long time. And this made me really wonder about why that is. Like how do some teams end up being like, like the Ravens always have a good defense? Like why does that always happen? You know what I mean? Like what makes some teams
Steelers.
go that route for so long? Like why would that be a tendency? Why would that happen? I really don't know. I'd love to see someone like really like break it down, like looking at the NFL holistically and like the way certain things happened. You know, it might be a good project for like an AI bot to work on and just like have them research it for me. I don't know, but this was cool. So yeah, had a good time doing it.
Yeah. Also, the Steelers are known for I guess
Defense too, yeah. Steel City.
And then
yeah.
like I'm trying to think who
Steel
else,
Iron
right?
Curtain.
Like if you really
But
think about like who's the best like all-time drafter in offense, right? Is
But
it
you know
like
what I would
Colts
say, like,
maybe? Because like they got quarterback and Packers, to be totally fair, right?
Packers.
I think one of the interesting things, though, with the Jets on this topic is how they flip-flopped, right? Like, if you look at the Ravens, they've been defense since day one. The Steelers have been defense since day one. Then you look at the 49ers have been offense since pretty much day one, right? But you look at the Jets, they were an explosive offensive team in the beginning of their existence, and then they morphed into a defensive team, which you don't really see happen. So that is very curious, and you know,
Yeah,
when you
I
think
guess we
about
can
it.
ask Nania this on that one, since we're BFFs with them now. Has
Yeah.
anyone said any tweets lately or anything like that since then, or no?
Have as what'd you say?
I don't know. We've been talking to Nania since.
Just like you know, with just a couple thank you messages and just like, you know, what's up kind of things, like, you know, very just like one line sort of things on Twitter DMs.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I'll wrap up with final thoughts. Man, it's
Go
a
for it.
fucking boring time to be a football fan, right? It really is. This topic might have saved us, honestly. And the nice momentum we've had with some follows recently. So like we really appreciate it. And just remember, since Monty's always the one to say it, like, comment, subscribe. And if you could vote also on I think I'll do a poll to see who had the best team. I think it was still me. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. Maybe just because I'm the asshole that fucking came up with this idea, and also America and all that. But you know, it's all good.
It's not a conspiracy, John.
It's a fucking conspiracy theory. Just 100%. Just like why I lost my last job, right? With the strat thing going down, right? It's just the fucking weirdest conspiracy theory. Okay. So yeah, I mean, like, let's hope Reddick shows up from Japan. I mean, I guess a fun game. I mean, I really like the all-fail team, and we could have just done a whole fucking draft for the all-fail team. Maybe we'll do that the next episode if it's really slow next week as well. I kind of like that idea, right? Just go back to the all-fail team. Yeah. But yeah, that would be fun. But anyway, in the meantime, just remember to say this to yourselves when you go to sleep. Fuck the Patriots, fuck the Dolphins, fuck the Bills, go Jets. And congratulations on Bill for getting his knob polished by a fucking 20-something-year-old. You guys
yeah. Thanks for that parting.
Yeah, compliance officer not liking that. But anyway, you guys have a good night, all right? Happy 4th of July, people.
Thanks, everyone.
Bill's enjoying his.
Peace.
See ya.